Lockdowns around the world inspire protests around the world, which means good. It's about goddamn time, because we should have been seeing this last year. But we'll talk a little bit about what's going on there and why the globalists might not get away with it this time. In other news, the Vikings assistant coach is leaving the team after refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. So we'll go over a little bit of what's going on there. Joe Biden receives another poll that puts him at sub 50%, so we'll talk just a bit about what that could mean, including a prediction by a former White House doctor. And Cleveland finally has a new name for its baseball team. Hopefully, Guardians won't offend anybody, not even Star-Lords. It's going to be all this and more over on Contemporary. Hey, do you trust the plan yet? I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Oh, folks, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We're not doing the rules of engagement, or the rules of acquisition yet. That's at the end of the show here. Let's get back up to the beginning here, because we've got a bunch of stuff to go over today. And really, honestly, a White House doctor coming out and saying that Biden could be removed in a prediction is not at the top of the show, or the Gallup poll either, that drops him below 50%. Those two things should be the top of the show, but these lockdown protests, we got to talk about those first here, plus everything else that goes with the commie coof, because, well, we organize things around here and we try to stay on topic with stuff. So we have got a bunch of stuff to go over today. It wasn't as wild of a weekend as we sometimes have. I mean, sometimes we come in on Monday and we've got 39 tabs. We have not cleared 40 yet. We've gotten close. We've gotten to 39, but we have not cleared 40 yet. But we're going to get through all this today because I don't have my regular 40-hour-a-week job today because I'm preparing for the Red Ned show tonight. So we have got some time that we can go through all this stuff over here. So strap yourselves in, grab a coffee, grab a bang, and let's get started. But before we get into any of the news, make sure you go over and check out my friends who will be helping me out in the upcoming project, to be announced at a later date here. It's probably going to be a fall release, but still go and check out all the creators that are going to come over there and hang out and help us over on the new project. And I am talking, of course, about the R-Rated Conservative, getting ready for his big move, the Breakdown with Birkenhoff, the Freckles and Brit Show, the Generational Gap, and of course, my friend, the Daily Ignoramus, who we will be going and rating as soon as this stream is done. So go and check all of them out. They will all be participating in the new project that's coming up here in the near future. So you can come on over there, help them, and help me support great creators as well. All right, let's get some live chat going up in here, you guys. Just to see what you guys are coming up here talking about. Let's get something up here, a monitor, so we can see what's going on with that over there as well. And let's get started. Looking in first at your finance, the Dow on Friday cleared 35,000, which would mean that we've hit yet another new record coming up here. I'm sorry, this is on a house of cards. Just with everything else that we're seeing here, a lot of this is being fueled by inflation, which is making a lot of people nervous off of this. But it looks like the futures are actually coming down here. So we'll talk where IBD thinks this is going to go versus where I think this is going to go. Of course, IBD can be attributed more to financial advice than I can, and for legal purposes. This is not official financial advice either. So go and check with your financial advisor to see what is going to be the best course for you. Your Bitcoin had a great weekend. Good God. Remember, we were just talking about the fact on Friday that it dipped below 30,000, and, well, now it's not. Over the weekend, Bitcoin has risen to 38,489 US dollars and 10 US cents. This is still a volatile asset, so check with your financial advisor to see what is best for you, but over the weekend, we start to see, and I mean, we're seeing some fears coming off the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar, so I'm not surprised by this. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am not surprised by any of this in the least to see Bitcoin going the directions that it's going. So we will continue to watch this and see where it goes. Hey, maybe we'll see that 400,000 that Elaine and her source predicted that could be. So come back and check that out. All right, looking in at your gas. We're still seeing 279 even across the Madison area. No changes across there, no highs, no lows. It's all just at 279, but I will report from my own experience, because I don't live in Madison, thankfully. I live probably a half an hour away from Madison, so I don't get to see these nice low prices like this. But for the most part, all of Janesville was at $2.99 for the entirety of last week. I am happy to report that I threw 20 in my truck, because the gas station that I went to, I don't get the best fuel economy with, but it was right there next to where I went and got dinner last night. Janesville's down to $2.89. I'm not going to say what it is. Well, I can say what it is and redacted where I live. Where I live, it's still over the $3 mark, but yeah, some of the cities are starting to see that all come back down. So, hey, maybe we'll start to see a little bit of a drop in this. That's probably going to be the best thing for the Biden admin if the OPEC opens up the spigots and we start to lose places to do that, because, hey, come on, man, look, I lower gas prices. Sir, OPEC did that. You didn't. No, it was me, man, and my policy. Love me, please. Jill, can I go now? All right, let's see what IBD has to say. All right, an advertisement, that's what they have to say. The IPO gold rush. No, we're not going to do that. Dow Jones futures fall, market rally at highs as Apple earnings loom. China stocks dive, Bitcoin spikes, here comes Tesla. From Ed Carson, Dow Jones futures fell slightly Monday morning, along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures after the stock market rally rebounded back to record highs last week. U.S.-listed China stocks, continue to plunge. Bitcoin spiked to nearly 40,000 Sunday night before pulling back somewhat. Tesla earnings loom on Monday night, with Apple stock, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and Google parent Alphabet also due this coming week. Those 6 companies have a combined market cap of nearly $10 trillion, all except Tesla stock had solid to standout weeks, trading at near or record highs. Tesla stock investors face a big decision before Monday's close. Meanwhile, Nvidia is still actionable, while rival AMD is near a buy point with its own earnings on tap. The stock market made bullish moves last week, with the S&P 500 index and NASDAQ composite at record highs, but there are reasons to be cautious, at least for substantially adding exposure at current levels. Apple and the tech megacaps have run up to a lot heading into earnings, already pushing the market rally back towards extended levels. Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, and Google are on the IBD leaderboard. Microsoft stock and Google are on IBD long-term leaders. Google stock is on the IBD 50. The Stock Market Today video in this article highlights Nvidia, Snap, and Tesla stock, as well as analyzes the weekly market action. Yeah, we're not going to watch that. That's 20 minutes. All right. China. Beijing confirmed a crackdown on for-profit education firms with New Oriental Education, and peers tumbling early Monday after plunging more than 50% on Friday, but many other U.S.-listed Chinese firms continue to sell off as China reins in private businesses, especially those with U.S. listings. Alibaba slumped 3%, so did EV maker NIO. Online real estate firm KE Holdings tumbled 20% as China signaled it'll step up oversight of the property sector. China is also releasing regulations for food delivery platforms, including minimum wages. Severe floods in parts of China could also hurt economic activity. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index tumbled 4.1% on Monday, so if you've got China stocks, just kind of watch a little bit of where you're going. The Bitcoin price, which traded above 34,000 for most of the weekend, skyrocketed Sunday just above 39.5 before quickly paring gains somewhat. Bitcoin is currently trading below 39,000. There are rumors that Amazon will soon start accepting Bitcoin as payment by year end, perhaps introducing its own token next year, because of course they are. Because of course Amazon wants to get on this, because Bezos thinks he found another way to make fucking money. The e-commerce giant reportedly looks to make some crypto-related hires. Bitcoin has traded in a range from above 29,000 to about 41,000 since late May. It recently reclaimed its 50-day line. Now, one thing to note with this, and I know that there are subways in California that'll take Bitcoin right now, but for the most part, if you're using Bitcoin for transactions, the percentages of Bitcoin that you're using per Bitcoin to make a transaction are so minuscule, you might as well just use cash for it at this point. Like, you're not going to go and buy your Subway sandwich every day for $5 or whatever the fuck. What is Subway now at? Is that like $7, I think, for a footlong? Maybe it's 10, I don't know, with the new menu that's coming out. We have no idea, but I mean, that's not usually just like gold, if you do have to use it for something, you're using it for a big ticket purchase, like a car, like a house, like something like that. You're not going out and using it to buy your cleaning supplies and a couple other things off Amazon, but you could, apparently. And that is one of the strengths of Bitcoin versus the Doge, the little bit of Doge that, well, not a little bit anymore, but the little bit of Doge that I have. There's really no way to spend it without turning it back into a US dollar. And for the most part, Bitcoin is the same thing. If you want to spend your Bitcoin, you've got to turn it back into your US dollar. But, we're starting to see some of these other places, like some of these little sandwich shops out in California, in the tech hub of the world, or Amazon now, or, at some point, whether or not Elon Musk is concerned about the environment or how we're going to turn around and change the environment, you actually have places to spend Bitcoin. It's a legitimate currency at this point, and it's accepted at some retailers. So that's where the strength of Bitcoin is going to come from, and that's what we're going to see coming forward off of this. Let's look at the futures. Dow futures fell 0.2% versus fair value. S&P 500 futures lost 0.2%. NASDAQ 100 futures edged lower. The 10-year Treasury yield edged lower, along with crude oil prices. Copper futures rose modestly. So if you got that wire hanging in your garage, go and sell some of that now, because I'm seeing that going to be coming down too. And that's one thing too. With like metals and whatnot, I've got some brake rotors and a DOC in the bed of my pickup that's going over to the recycling center today. But as of right now, your metals are up a little bit because, people aren't feeling the squeeze of the economy just yet. But if it drops out, just like we saw it, if it drops out again, we're going to start to see those prices plummet, because everybody is going to dig every aluminum can out of their car, out of their kitchen, everything they've been saving in the garages. They're going to go all start turning them in at once because they need food. Same with copper and any metal that they can come back and pick up. So if you got it, go and sell it now, because then you can sit on it and throw it in your savings account or under the mattress if you prefer, and weather the storm a little bit here. Remember, overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into actual trading in the next regular stock market session. All right, let's look at one from the Wall Street Journal really quick here. This is going to be quick, because this is going to be a lot of the same information that we were seeing in the other one. But I wanted to grab one from left-leaning Wall Street Journal just to see what it is that they have to say. Stock futures retreat after Dow's record. From Caitlin Ostroff. U.S. stock futures slid Monday, suggesting the major stock indices will retreat from last week's all-time highs after markets in China and Hong Kong plummeted. Futures linked to Dow Jones Industrial Average declined 0.4%. The blue chip index on Friday crossed 35,000, closing milestone for the first time in its history after climbing over 1% last week. Contracts tied to the broader S&P 500 benchmark ticked 0.2% lower on Monday. Futures for the NASDAQ 100 edged down 0.1%, suggesting that large tech stocks may grind lower at the opening bell. The mood in global markets soured after Beijing took aim at some of China's fastest growing listed companies over the weekend, prompting a sharp sell-off and fueling concerns about regulatory risks in a key overseas market. The Shanghai Composite Index dropped 2.3% by the close of trading, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index shed 4.1% in its biggest one-day rout in over a year. More regulatory tightening from China is having an impact on sentiment, said Hugh Kimber, a strategist at J.P. Morgan Asset Management. Worries about rising Ginkgo cases and whether that may lead to fresh lockdowns and more supply chain bottlenecks is also triggering some pessimism in the markets, he said. Meanwhile, cryptocurrencies jumped on Monday, with Bitcoin rising more than 18% from its 5 p.m. Eastern Time level Friday. Investors pointed to short positions being liquidated and speculation that Amazon.com Incorporated may be venturing into digital currencies. The price of Bitcoin rose to as much as $39,544.29, its highest level since mid-June, according to CoinDesk. So, we will see where that goes. A lot of this is being fueled by the Delta variant, and the fact that, yes, other countries are starting to lock down. And we have got a regime in place in our country that would like to do the same thing, and they're starting to explore the legal options to do so. So, watch what we're doing here, and I hope that if we do lock down, we get the protests like we see over in Ireland and places like that. So, let's see where this is going. Let's move into the big news of the day. Speaking of the lockdowns, we're going to start today with my favorite, and a fan favorite as well. We're going to start today with NPR. Hey, thousands of people protest coronavirus lockdowns in Australia. You'll remember Australia was one of the first ones to come out and say we have to lock down, and we have this under control, and we're not going to let anybody in an island continent that is surrounded by ocean. So we're going to see what happens with that, and I'm kind of glad to see it because they seemed a little bit cucked the last time. But this is coming to NPR via the Dissociated Press, and remember, you see all those big donate buttons over here. You have to donate to NPR to help them spread the progressive message. National Progressive Radio. We will spread the communist ideals. You just give us your money. I mean our money, comrade. Let's see what they have to say. In Sydney, thousands of people took to the streets of Sydney and other Australian cities on a Saturday to protest lockdown restrictions amid other surges in cases, and police made several arrests after crowds broke through the barriers and threw plastic bottles and plants. Why plants? Seriously, why are they throwing plants? It's like Austin Powers. Who throws a shoe? Seriously. The unmasked participants marched from Sydney's Victoria Park to Town Hall in the Central Business District, carrying signs calling for freedom and the truth. There was a heavy police presence in Sydney, including mounted police and riot officers. In response to what authorities said was unauthorized protest activity, police confirmed a number of arrests had been made after objects were thrown at officers. New South Wales Police said it recognized and supported the rights of free speech and peaceful assembly, but the protest was a breach of public health orders. The priority for NSW police is always the safety of the wider community, a police statement said. The protests come as COVID-19 case numbers in the state reached another record with 163 new infections in the last 24 hours. Ooh! Greater Sydney has been locked down for the past 4 weeks, with residents only able to leave home with a reasonable excuse. That last sentence right there, that tells me that there's too much fucking government. We live in a democracy, and normally, I am certainly the one who supports the people's right to protest. But at the present time, we've got cases going through the roof, and we have people thinking it's okay to go out there and possibly be close to each other at a demonstration, said State Health Minister Brad Hazzard. In Melbourne, no, not Melbourne, like normal people would say it, Melbourne, thousands of protesters without masks turned out downtown chanting, "Freedom!" Some of them lit flares as they gathered outside Victoria's State Parliament House. They held banners, including one that read, "This is not about a virus, it's about total government control of the people. Aye, mate?" A car protest rally is also planned in Adelaide, which is also under lockdown, with police warning that they will make arrests over unlawful activity. By Friday, 15.4% of the nation's population aged 16 and above have received both jabs of the pinko fucking pox. We've turned the corner, mate. We've got it sorted. We're hitting the marks that we need to make. 1 million doses a week are now being delivered, Prime Minister Scott Morrison said. We are well on our way to where we want to be at the end of the year, and potentially sooner than that. Good eye. So they are protesting off of this, which is good. Because, yeah, I mean, we're seeing the cases come up, but the government should not be able to do this. They shouldn't be able to just lock you in your home and say, yeah, no, you're not going to come out unless you give us a really, really good reason. So, good on them. Let's grab one from the BBC. Belfast and Dublin protests over COVID restrictions. This is BBC, so there's no author given. Let's see. Hundreds protesters opposing the Pinko-Pox restrictions and the vaccine program gathered in Belfast and Dublin on Saturday afternoon. Hundreds marched in Belfast, some carrying placards with anti-vaccine messages. The PSNI had a presence at the march, which began at Belfast City Hall. They said they would review footage of the Belfast protests and consider suspected breaches of the Public Processions Act of 1998. Officers have engaged with those present, including the organizer, in relation to the significant volume of people in attendance, some of whom were on the road to ensure public safety, said Superintendent Nigel Henry. Man, you can't get much more English than a name like Nigel Henry. In Dublin, a crowd gathered outside Custom House as roads were blocked and traffic forced to a standstill. Protesters made their way along O'Connell Street and then to government buildings where a number of speeches were made. Some of the protesters addressed the issue of the Pinko-Pox certificates, which are being rolled out for indoor dining and travel. So they've got the passport. How does that make you feel? They've got the passport. You shall not go out in public to eat if you do not show the government that you were a good little boy and did what they told you to and put into your body whatever they told you to put into your body. Enjoy that, because I think that was a long time coming, and I'm also glad to see some protests coming out of that. All right, let's grab one from the Hill. Protesters in Greece demonstrating against vaccine mandates and tear gassed by police. From Lexi Lonis. I can't do a Greek accent, so we'll be out of luck on this one. Police on Saturday tear-gassed demonstrators in Greece who were protesting against coronavirus vaccine mandates for some workers. There were more than 4,000 protesters at central Athens outside of the Parliament building calling for the vaccination requirement for healthcare workers to be dropped, Reuters reported. A police official told Reuters that some protesters threw petrol bombs at authorities, so police responded with tear gas. This is the third time this month there have been protests against mandatory vaccines. The requirement for vaccines is only for healthcare workers and nursing staff in the country. Greece is encouraging teachers to get vaccinated as well. However, it is not a requirement. Only 45% of Greece's population is fully vaccinated against the Pinko-Pox, Reuters noted. Greece has reported more than 474,000 Comicoof cases throughout the pandemic, with more than 12,000 deaths. Greece wasn't the only country that experienced protests on Saturday. In France, there were around 160,000 people who were protesting against a bill being discussed in the Senate that would require Pinko-Pox passes to get into all restaurants and bars in the country. And in Australia, thousands of protesters took to the streets of Sydney and other cities across the country to push back on the continued COVID-19 lockdown orders. Good, especially coming from France. I mean, we've all seen the national flag of France. It's white. But even they're coming out and saying, no, this is fucking bullshit. We can do better than this. So good on them, and good on Greece, and good on Sydney. And hell, good on Dublin and Belfast, too. Don't take this shit from the government. Don't take this bullshit at all. Come back and tell them how wrong it is. Come back and tell them, no, we will not stand for this. And give progressive liberals in this country a lesson. All right, let's grab the other side of the coin, coming back to our country. From KMOV4, mask mandate returning to St. Louis City County on Monday. Okay, there's no content here. Video? Video.
Another big story tonight, masking up again in St. Louis City and County. The new mask mandate goes into effect in less than 2 hours from now. The mandate is drawing strong reactions from residents, business owners, and local leaders. News 4's Jenna Ray reports on what you'll need to know about the new rule.
It's back to COVID as we once knew it. Masking in grocery stores, restaurants, anywhere indoors in St. Louis City and County.
I'm thinking that it should be very necessary as this Delta variant, it is very much spreading.
While some residents are in favor of the mandate, this came as a surprise for many local municipalities across the county, including one St. Louis County councilman. And he's already taking action.
The council can, as soon as Tuesday, take up a vote that would terminate any health mandates issued by the public health director on Monday.
Councilman Tim Fitch, along with the mayors of Chesterfield, Eureka, and Wildwood, have all come out against the new mandate. City and county health officials tell us the new mandate requires anyone over the age of 5 to wear a face covering, vaccinated or not. They say masking will be required at any public place indoors, including restaurants, bars, grocery stores, and more. There's still a federal regulation in place for masking on public transportation. That applies to St. Louis City and County as well. Wildwood's mayor tells News 4 he's concerned the new mandate could have adverse effects.
I'm concerned that that requirement could actually discourage.
All right, so that's enough of what we're hearing off of that. And everyone 5 and older in St. Louis must wear a mask, which, honestly, if the government comes out and just says you should wear a mask, 75 to 80% of these people are just going to do it without questioning, without thinking. If the patron saint of medicine, Dr. Anthony Fauci, especially people who are living in the big city on top of this, 75% of them are just going to do it without question. Say, okay, the patron saint of medicine, he told us to do it, so we have to come and do it, without having to put a law into place. So, really honestly, we're going to start seeing this come back across the rest of the country too, but I honestly pretty positive a lot of people are going to go back and tell their governments to go and get fucked. If you want to know the full honest truth of it. I know that Evers is going to try to do this, but Evers got his fucking balls snipped by the Wisconsin legislature, so he can try, but it's not going to happen. Dane County is probably going to put one back in, and they're probably going to put another one into the city of Madison, which will further entrench me from spending money in Dane County and Madison. It is what it is. Everybody knows that I'm not going to spend money there anyway because they suck, and I want to protest against their government over there. And if it takes my little bitty 0.5% of tax revenue from sales tax, if they can't get that little bit of tax revenue from the $2.29 or whatever the fuck they have the price jack to for a can of Bang, well, that's the 0.5% they're not going to fucking get. But yes, that's coming back out of St. Louis. Let's talk about the other side of the coin here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, with COVID cases spiking in mostly unvaccinated Arkansas, former White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says if she's elected governor, there will be no mask mandate or vaccine. We believe in personal freedom and responsibility.
Governor DeSantis is exactly right. He's done a great job in Florida. If I'm elected governor here in Arkansas, we will not have mask mandates. We will not have mandates on the vaccine. We will not shut down churches and schools and other large gatherings because we believe in personal freedom and responsibility. That's one of the key cornerstones, frankly, of our country. Governor DeSantis is exactly right.
So, and, this is a campaign pitch above everything else. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not in a position to do anything except for put pressure on the current governor to say, hey, you better do this, otherwise I'm going to come in and swoop in and your constituents are going to come vote for me. So we'll see what happens with that and where that goes. All right, let's go grab another one here. From the Hill. Huckabee Sanders vows to not impose mask vaccine mandates if elected governor of Arkansas. This one was shared almost 20,000 times from The Hill. And that's something I note when I come through because The Hill tells you how many times something was shared or tweeted out on something else. So people thought this was a big deal, especially the left-wing readers of The Hill. This is from Celine Castronuovo. Former White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Friday said that she would not impose any mask mandate or vaccine requirements if she's elected governor of Arkansas in 2022. The Republican gubernatorial candidate made a promise during an interview on Fox and Friends in response to a Washington Post report saying that top White House aides and officials at the CDC discussed potentially updating mask guidance amid new surges of the highly transmissible Delta COVID variant. Oh shit, I said COVID. I mean, you guys probably noticed that I say the pinko pox, the commie coof, the shit like that, because it's not just to make fun of this, but if you say the other two C words, which, I mean, I just said it once, but I'm not going to say it again. If you say those other two, YouTube actually will algorithmically derank your video. So it's not so, because the rest of you guys know there's an announcement in the Discord and there's an announcement on Twitter that it's coming. But, I mean, discoverable as a replay later on makes it almost impossible if you say those words because you're deranked. And they've got the algorithms and the robots to detect you saying it. Top administration officials have since said there are no plans to update the CDC's masking guidance, though President Biden said this week that the CDC would likely soon issue guidance encouraging children to wear facial coverings upon returning to school this fall. Yeah, who saw that coming? However, Sanders pushed back on the potential for increased restrictions Friday, saying, "If I'm elected governor here in Arkansas, we will not have mask mandates. We will not have mandates on the vaccine, and we will not shut down the churches and the schools and other large gatherings because we believe in personal freedom and responsibility," she added. It's one of the key cornerstones, frankly, of our country. Sanders went on to say, "I think if President Biden and Vice President Harris and others on the left are serious about helping to save lives through the vaccine, they should admit that they were wrong when they cast doubt on Operation Warp Speed at the very beginning of and give President Trump and his administration the credit they are due for helping get this vaccine created safely, quickly, and efficiently, and into the hands of Americans." Why does that matter? Why does that matter? They've already tainted it by saying mandatory. And there are a bunch of people out there that just because it's mandatory aren't going to get it. There are people out there that have assess the risk and say, you know what, I see too many people getting sick and losing a couple days, and I'm pretty healthy. I think I'm just not going to take it. That's kind of the camp that I'm in myself. I think that would make a huge difference, and I think they should really take some responsibility and step up and fix the mistake they made by casting so much doubt at the beginning of this process, she added. Democrats and critics of Trump last year called into question the integrity of the vaccines after he pushed for the shots to be authorized expeditiously. So, yeah, no mandates, no face mask mandates, no vaccine mandates, no nothing out of Arkansas if Sanders is elected the governor of that state. I mean, I like Sarah Sanders, even though I make fun of her accent. I like Sarah Sanders. I think this is going to go far in Arkansas, and it is a matter of knowing your audience. Now, like people in New York, upstate New York might be a little bit averse to it. But like people in New York City would love to see a mask mandate on the entire country. They would love to see that. People in Arkansas, people in Montana, people in Wyoming, or places like that, they don't want to see a mandate. They do still want to see people wearing the mask, and they're going to make fun of some of the people wearing the mask, but they don't want to see a big mandate off of this. My take on this whole mandate thing is the fact that it is, and I've mentioned this before, it's the government getting involved because the free market was picking winners and losers. They were going to places that didn't have a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate in some cases. They were picking and choosing to spend their money in those places. And we'll talk a bit about that in just a second. And the government said, no, the consumer is not allowed to pick and choose losers. That's our job. We pick and choose which businesses survive and which ones fail. That's us. So everybody's got to wear the mask. And then you don't have a decision based on who decides to mask and who doesn't. So that's what we see coming off of that. Let's grab one from CNN. Kay Ivey, Alabama Republican Governor Ivey, says, start blaming the unvaccinated folks for the rise in COVID cases. Dude, what? I mean, this is a breakthrough thing. but she's going to say the quiet part out loud at least. From Veronica Strakwalersi. Alabama Republican Governor Kay Ivey on Thursday called out the unvaccinated folks for the rise in pinko-pox cases in her state, a remarkable plea at the time when many GOP leaders are refusing to urge people to get vaccinated, even as the pinko-pox cases surge in many parts of the country. Folks are supposed to have common sense. It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not just the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down, Ivey told reporters in Birmingham. Alabama is the least vaccinated state in the country, with roughly 33.9% of residents fully vaccinated, according to the data from the U.S. CDC. Average daily COVID cases in Alabama are nearly double what they were a week ago and more than 4 times higher than they were 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't trust those numbers anymore. Not after what we saw last year. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. Asked by reporters Thursday about plans to issue a mask mandate or other restrictions now that the COVID cases are starting to rise again in her state, Ivey replied, "The new cases for COVID are because of unvaccinated folks. Almost 100% of the new hospitalizations are with unvaccinated folks, and the deaths are certainly occurring with unvaccinated folks." Yeah, I'd love to crack open the books on your hospitals and just see which ones are getting reported and which ones are getting swept under the rug because they don't fit the fucking narrative. The unvaccinated, Ivey said, are choosing a horrible lifestyle of self-inflicted pain. Well, that's their choice. We're American. "We got to get folks to take this shot," she continued, calling the vaccine the greatest weapon we have to fight COVID. Dude, if people want to get the shot, people are going to get the shot. If they don't, they'll watch The Price is Right. This is not a hard concept, and I don't understand why this is so hard for all these globalists out there to come out and say, "Oh, no, we believe in the people and their ability to make the right decision for each other." But they don't. And I love how Ivey came out and said the quiet part out loud, too. This one right here. "It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks." There it is. Second class of citizen. If you don't do what the government tells you, you are a pariah. You are a second class of citizen. You are a leper, relegated to live outside the city walls. That's what they think of you. That's how they see you. Tell me I'm wrong. But that is what we have from Kay Ivey. Let's grab one from The Hill. NFL's Vikings assistant coach leaves team after refusing to reload the page, after refusing pinko-pox vaccine. From Lexi Lonis. A Minnesota Vikings assistant coach has left the team after refusing to get the coronavirus vaccine, a source told ESPN. Offensive line coach Rick Dennison left the team after choosing not to get vaccinated, and his job has already been filled, sources say. Yes, there was a good little boy who came out and said, yes, daddy government, I will get the vaccine. Yes, daddy government. Yes, daddy government. Phil Rosher will take Dennison's spot, and Ben Steele, who was the special teams analyst for Auburn, will fill Rosher's position, according to ESPN. The move to leave the team comes after the NFL required Tier 1 employees, those who work directly with the players, to be fully vaccinated. Tier 1 employees who don't get vaccinated cannot interact with players or be on the field. The NFL has also warned teams that they could forfeit games this season if there's an outbreak of the pinko-fucking-pox among unvaccinated players. Although the vaccine is not mandated for players, 80% of players have been vaccinated, with 9 teams having more than 90% of players vaccinated. Dennison is the first NFL coach to leave his post due to the vaccine. The Hill has reached out to the Vikings for comment. Well, and we talked about this. We talked about this on Friday. And Chalaga, attributed Brady Leonard's tweet to me off of this, but it still stands true. Now, especially if you are black in this country, you've seen the Tuskegee experiments, you've seen the redlining, you've seen all this other stuff that the government has done that you're protesting against now to try and keep you out of the way until it's election time. Then they love you. Then they want you in regular society. But until there's an election going on, they don't want to see you. They want you relegated to places that they tell people not to go. And they will experiment on people, or they have. I'm not going to say that they will, but they have. They've done it in the past. And with the percentage of players in the NFL that are black, I'm not surprised. I'm actually a little surprised that the vaccination rate is so high. I'm very surprised that it's so high. But once again, we're going to come back to this position where people come out and say, hey, there's got to be another reason they're pushing this because, you know, almost 90% of our staff has got this jab. And I'm uncomfortable with this. But you're not allowed to be uncomfortable. The government knows what's best for you. And they will tell you what's best for you. And you have to just sit down, kneel down, and say, yes, Daddy Government. Yes, Daddy Government. But that's where we're seeing coming out of this. Let's grab one from Twitter. Let's talk about the red-haired bobblehead, Jen Psaki. Why do you need to have that information? Let's listen.
Most are asymptomatic if they are individuals who are vaccinated who get the virus. You know, we are in a different place in terms of the impact of individuals who may have, as you said, breakthrough cases.
Why not just provide the number? Are you trying to hide something?
No, but why do you need to have that information? Breakthrough cases.
Why not just provide the number? Are you trying to hide something?
No, but why do you need to have that information? You said breakthrough cases.
Why not just provide the number? Are you trying to hide something?
No, but why do you need to have that information?
Why do you need to have that information? Well, you're a press secretary. Your job is to give the information and lie for the president. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. To make the president look good, which is a definite challenge to this administration, but that's another story for another time. That's government transparency at work right there. Why do you need to have that information? Bitch, because I want that information. That's why I need to have that information. And yes, I do believe that there is some cooking of the fucking books to make it seem like it's only the unvaccinated folks, the second-class citizens that are getting sick. Look, you have 14 Democrats run away to Washington on a bus and then charter a plane, and 6 of them come back with the pinko fucking pox. And you're telling me that there's not something wrong here? Fuck you. And I want to know what your numbers are. I want to know what your numbers are. Show me how many breakthrough cases there are, because I'm willing to bet that once you crack that fucking book open, you're going to start to see a lot more of this, and you're going to start to see a lot of book cooking going on too. Oh, this person's vaccinated? Oh, hey, that's not the pinko pox. Oh, that's just your regular flu. Just don't worry about that. But Dr. Smith, the COVID, the test came back positive. No, don't mark it down. I bet you we see a lot of that going on. All right, so that's what we see from that. Let's go to the Blaze. Atlanta restaurant turns away unvaccinated customers. No vax, no service. From Chris Enlow. An Atlanta area restaurant is making headlines over a new sign its owners posted warning potential customers, no vax, no service. Owners of the Argosy restaurant and bar located in Atlanta's East Village posted a sign outside their restaurant last week advising potential customers they're not welcome inside if they're unvaccinated, WSB-TV reported, and it begins. For the safety of our staff and guests and community, no vax, no service, the sign reads. The decision was made after 3 employees and co-owner Armando Celentano tested positive for COVID-19, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. All 4 were reportedly vaccinated against the pinko fucking pox, which would make them breakthrough cases. Data from the CDC show such cases are exceedingly rare. Really? Because I'm sure hearing about a lot of them. We think we were exposed at different times to unvaccinated people, Celentano claimed. The positive tests forced owners to shut their doors over the weekend, resulting in tens of thousands of dollars in lost revenue. The owner said, I can't afford to continue shutting down due to pinko pox infections, Celentano said. So how will the restaurant enforce its new policy? Not proactively, at least for now. From the Journal-Constitution. Argosy employees will not check for proof of vaccination at the door, in part because the restaurant doesn't have the staff to support such protocol. Instead, customers are asked to carry a proof of vaccination, either the original copy or a digital version, such as a photo from a smartphone, and show it upon request. Vaccination is required to enter whether customers are indoors or outside. Celentano said the policy was fluid and could change if it becomes obvious that we have to start taking vaccination cards at the door. He said, "We want people to have fun and walk around, but not spread this thing to people and staff. This is not, hopefully, a long-term policy. Hopefully, it's enough to get us through until we can develop herd immunity." Okay, I was to the understanding that the people on the left thought that herd immunity was bullshit and could never happen. And we were told that last year, by the way. I don't know if anybody remembers this because they're more than a year fucking old, but we were told that herd immunity was bullshit and we need to lock down forever until we had 0 cases whatsoever. There was no such thing as herd immunity. And now we have to achieve herd immunity once again. Now the other side is using that language. But here's my advice to you. Now, I don't know about Argosy. Maybe our friend Jessica Green in the chat can tell us a little bit about Argosy, but I don't know what Argosy is, how good it is, if it's a mainstay in the city. If you're not a member of the city, if you don't eat at Argosy, here's the thing. These people hate you. They have proven that they hate you because of your ability to make individualized decisions for yourself. They hate you. Don't give them your money. No, I'm dead serious. Don't give them a penny of your money at this point. If this is how they're going to treat you, you're a second-class citizen unless you do what the government said. Then don't give them your money. Plain and simple. Don't go eat there. And those of you who are vaccinated too, by the way, don't go fucking eat there. This is, the next thing is going to pop up and it could be a discrimination against you. Don't go eat there. They want to talk about Jim Crow 2.0. This is fucking Jim Crow 2.0. It's not the voter registration. It's not this. It's vaccinated eat here. Unvaccinated people eat here. No unvaccinated people may enter the restaurant. This is Jim Crow. And people don't fucking see it. They don't. And they're going to make any excuse that they can to come out and say, no, it's not. It's just, it's the voting thing because Republicans support that, and Republicans are the real racists, and they're the ones who are the Klansmen, and this, and everybody knows that the party switched, and no. This is Jim Crow. Separate but equal. But, like I said, don't give these people your money. Don't do business with this place. But yet, people are going to still do business with this place, I guarantee you. All right, let's grab one from the Hill. Tennessee resuming nearly all adolescent vaccine advocacy, from Justine Coleman. Tennessee is resuming almost all of its adolescent vaccine advocacy efforts, a top health official announced on Friday, following backlash for the state's reported plans to suspend outreach. Tennessee Health Commissioner Lisa Piercy told reporters that the state will return to promoting all vaccines for children and hosting vaccination events on school property, including some next week, after a pause. But the agency will permanently stop distributing 11 social media posts directed at children that show them without a parent, she added. Everything else was paused and is now resumed, Piercy said. I want to assure you that the department's commitment to immunization is completely unchanged, she added. The Tennessean reported earlier this month that the Tennessee Department of Health planned to stop its outreach advocating for vaccines for adolescents against all diseases, including the pinko fucking pox, sparking nationwide outrage. Wow. The allergies must be getting to me here. I'm starting to read like Joe Biden, man. Come on. The article, which cited an internal report and agency emails, said the halt in vaccine advocacy followed criticism over immunization efforts directed towards minors, including by lawmakers. Piercy said that during the briefing that the pause in outreach over the last few weeks revolved around communication and marketing, noting, "We have not slowed down our vaccination efforts." So, yes, we will go back and see them reaching out to try to convince kids to go out and get the vaccine for themselves. And really, honestly, if you're a kid, you still need to get your parents' permission. And the vaccination sites also need to get your parents' permission. And if they go around that, then there are going to be some problems. So that's what we're seeing coming out of Tennessee. Last one on the pox from the Daily Wire. Report, 1.8 million Americans have turned down jobs to stay on unemployment. From Ben Seesloft. A new poll indicates that 1.8 million Americans have turned down job offers in order to stay on unemployment insurance. A Morning Consult surveyed 463 out-of-work American adults at the end of June. 13%, roughly 1 in 8, said they had refused job offers while unemployed because they receive enough money from unemployment insurance without having to work. Others said that child care obligations, worries over the pinko puck and pox, and lack of job flexibility limited their willingness to take new positions. Because 14.1 million adults were collecting benefits at the time of the survey, Morning Consult calculated that roughly 1.8 million Americans turned down jobs due to the handouts. Under the House Plan Chief's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, the federal government funded $300 per week enhanced unemployment insurance, a policy that caused sluggish labor recovery in markets. 26 states, all but one of which are led by Republicans, have therefore opted out of the program. As personal finance company Walt Hub recently found, 9 of the 10 states with the most robust labor market recoveries, Vermont, Utah, Nebraska, South Dakota, Idaho, New Hampshire, Alabama, Kansas, Montana, and Oklahoma, have Republican governors. Meanwhile, all the bottom 10, Illinois, New Jersey, Louisiana, D.C., California, Connecticut, Nevada, New York, New Mexico, Hawaii, are run by Democrats. So that is a ton of people. And like I said, I remember the days. I remember in the economic crash in 08, 09, 2010, etc. And in that time when, you worked at a small little car garage at the time because it was one of the only places that was hiring it. And people came in and they said, I really don't know anything about cars, but I have to have 2 applications a week in order to keep getting my unemployment. So I'm just going to turn this in, and that's going to be it. And people were doing that because there was at least some sort of a requirement. Now, as desperate as the market is right now, if they had something like that in place, then these people, under normal times and normal circumstances, if you have unemployment, if you turn away any work at all whatsoever, you lose your unemployment. And yeah, I've told the story where a friend of my boss at the time bragged about the fact that if people were coming in and doing that, saying that they needed to come in and, I need to do my 2 a week to get unemployment and I'm completely unqualified for this job, he would turn around and offer the guy a minimum wage, 10-hour a week, sweep up in the shop or behind the grocery store or whatever the fuck it was. He would offer them a 10-hour a week minimum wage job. Not enough to support his family, but enough to kick him off his unemployment. Because if you turn away any work at all, anything, anywhere, any work at all, your unemployment's done. That's not in place right now because of the pinko pox, and we got to protect the people. They got to stay home. Well, that's what we're seeing coming back out of this. Is 1.8 million Americans have turned down jobs to stay on this. All right, let's grab one from the Hill. Let's shift gears and talk about the House Plan Chief. Biden hits new low in Gallup poll from Carolyn Vakil. President Biden's approval rating has dropped to a new low of 50% in Gallup's opinion poll, according to results published on Friday. Now, what do I always say? This is one poll, and we do need to be taking the aggregates. So I'm actually going to grab, I should have put this up here before, but we're going to grab Real Clear Politics, and we're going to see what the aggregate says. Not what one single poll says. Let's go see what the aggregate is. Polls. Biden job approval. On the aggregate, the average is 52.5% approve and 43.5% disapprove. Now, yeah, we've got the one Gallup out here that's dropped it down to 50%. We've got a couple other ones too. Rasmussen, Economist YouGov, In fact, Rasmussen is the closest to dead on the line, 50 to 48. Like the Gallup poll they're talking about right here is 50 to 45. So there's still a 5-point spread between the two of them. But, I mean, if you take all the numbers, the Hill-Harris X, that's still 7-8 to 7-9. That's 59-41. We get all the numbers together, and it looks like aggregated, we're at 52.5% to 43.5% approve to disapprove. All right, let's keep going here, though. Biden's approval rating dropped 6 percentage points from June in the new poll, which surveyed 1,007 adults between July 6th and July 21st. The lower rating comes amid a few new fears about inflation, a rising number of coronavirus cases, and slowing vaccination rate. Broken down by political party, only 12% of Republicans give the president a positive job approval rating, in comparison to 90% of Democrats and 48% of independents. The survey notes that his approval ratings among Democrats and independents are the lowest for those two groups to date, while the Republican rating was up 1 point. Gallup noted that it's common for presidents to see about a 3-point decrease in their average job approval ratings between their first and second quarters. But Gallup found that Biden's second quarter average approval rating of 53% was better than both former President Clinton's at 44% and former President Trump's at 38.8%. Biden's highest approval rating was 57% in late January, early February, and in April. Former President Obama's second quarter average job approval rating was 62% and W's was 55.8%. That I have a hard time believing. Because W fucking sucked. But 9/11 hadn't happened yet either by that point. The margin of error is 4 percentage points. Most popular president in history. More votes than even Barack Obama. All right, let's grab the blaze. Texas House Democrats are reportedly fuming because Biden refuses to meet with them. I'm just pissed off, from Chris Enlow once again. Texas House Democrats, who fled the Lone Star State 2 weeks ago to block certain legislation from becoming law, are reportedly fuming because President Biden has refused to meet with them. The Democratic lawmakers are expected to stay in D.C. through the first week of August, after which the special session currently in progress in the Texas legislature will expire. Texas House Democrats fled for Washington to urge Congress and Biden to pass the For the People Act, a sweeping election reform bill that Republicans oppose, but so far, Biden has refused their request for meeting, even through Zoom. He won't meet with us on Zoom like this, and I'm trying to be tactful, but I don't know how else to say it, man. I'm just pissed off at this point. He doesn't give us the respect the way you have. Texas State Rep. Richard Pena Raymond told U.S. Rep. Lloyd Doggett on Thursday. State Rep. Cheryl Cole, meanwhile, expressed entitlement to Biden's time because of the media attention they have received. All we can do is ask and push through our other congressional members, she said. Throughout the country, we received so much support that it has risen to a need for presidential attention. No, it hasn't. You're an entitled, whiny little fucking bitch, and the nearly 80-year-old president doesn't want to go back and meet with a bunch of people who got breakthrough fucking COVID cases. I can understand why he doesn't want to do this. I can absolutely understand it. But if they're going to go run off and they're going to be entitled, then they're going to be entitled. And that's going to be the way that it goes, folks. All right, let's grab one from the New York Post. This one. Swamp is going to swamp. Biden DOJ drops civil rights probe of Governor Cuomo over nursing homes and COVID-19. From Bernadette Hogan, Carl Campanile, and Bruce Golding. The DOJ, under the Honorable and Venerable Merrick Garland, has decided not to investigate whether the civil rights of residents in New York's government-run nursing homes were violated by Andrew Cuomo's controversial admission policy related to the pinko fucking pox. In a letter on Friday, the DOJ's Office of Legislative Affairs told U.S. Rep. Steve Scalise, ranking member of that House subcommittee on the coronavirus crisis, that New York was off the hook in connection with potential violations of the Civil Rights of Institutionalized Persons Act. In August, the DOJ's Civil Rights Division requested information from New York in connection with a March 25, 2020 order from the State Department of Health that required nursing homes to admit medically stable COVID-19 patients discharged from hospitals. It also sought records from Pennsylvania, Michigan, New Jersey, which adopted similar rules that the DOJ said may have resulted in deaths of thousands of elderly nursing home residents. We have reviewed the information provided by these states along with additional information available to the department, Deputy Assistant AG Joe Gaeta wrote on Friday. Based on that review, we have decided not to open a CRIPA investigation of any public nursing facility within New York, Pennsylvania, or Michigan at this time. See, there it is, right there. And really, honestly, I knew what this was going to, because I posted this article in the Discord. And I knew what symbols were going to show up underneath it. And some of those symbols have 6 points on them. Almost immediately. Well, I kind of warned the person who I knew was going to post them that it was coming. So, yes. Yeah. Fucking Swamp's going to fucking swamp you guys. Seriously. The Swamp is going to fucking do whatever they want to do. And they're going to cover each other up and protect each other. Oh, no. Cuomo, he didn't do anything, okay? Just don't look over here. It's all one hand washes the other at this point. It's all swamp. It's all corrupt. And everybody knows it. And they know that you know it. They're not trying to hide it anymore. They're, back in the W days, back in the fucking Clinton days, back in the Obama days, they at least tried to hide the corruption. They're taking a victory lap. This is what the government's doing to you right now. When they look at, they say, oh, see, Andy? Oh, yeah, no, he put all those somewhat healthy kids who had the COVID, he put them in the nursing home with grandma in a disease that we know is especially bad and deadly to the elderly. Oh, you know what? No, he didn't do anything wrong. No, and stop asking questions, you fuckers. All right, I might need to step away from my desk for just a second here. So let's throw a little bit of music up, and I will be right back. Never again will I ever brag about a good allergy season again, because the next year, if I brag about having a good allergy season, they're going to come back the year after that and kick my fucking ass, apparently. So, apologize for the unprofessionalism off of this. Let's keep going with where we were going with this. And let's make sure that that's actually stopped, otherwise the robots will fight with each other. Fucking robots. It's BattleBots in my chat. All right, here's what should have been the big news of the day. Ronnie Jackson, former White House doctor, predicts Biden will resign. This is from Carolyn Vakil. Rep. Ronnie Jackson of Texas, the controversial former White House physician, said on Thursday that he believed President Biden would resign because of his limited cognitive abilities. During an episode of Fox's Hannity, host Sean Hannity criticized responses Biden gave during a CNN town hall the day before, calling some completely incomprehensible. In an interview with Jackson, Hannity said that Biden would not perform well on a cognitive test, repeating a claim circulated among Republicans that the president's health is in decline. Donald Trump took a cognitive test. He got 30 out of 30 right. I hear it's a very difficult test. I do not think Joe Biden would do well on this test. Is that a fair assessment based on what you're observing? Hannity asked of Jackson. Well, absolutely, Sean. I've been saying this from the very beginning. I've been saying that something's going on here. I was saying this when he was candidate, Joe Biden, and I've been saying that it's only going to get worse. And guess what? We're watching that happen right before our eyes right now, Jackson said. There's something seriously going on with this man right now, and I think that he's either going to resign, they're going to convince him to resign from office at some point in the near future for medical issues, or they're going to have to use the 25th Amendment to get rid of this man right now, Jackson later added. Jackson also tweeted a video of Biden answering a reporter's question, saying he's completely lost it, needs a cognitive exam right now. All right, Ronnie Jackson says our cities are exploding with drugs and violence because of Democrats defund the police policy. And the great uniter Joe Biden deflects to talking about sucking the bloods out of kids. He's completely lost it, needs a cognitive exam now. Which we watched this last week too, but let's just listen to it again because, well, it's funny.
That's defunding the police.
And are there people who, in the Democratic Party, who want to defund the president?
Are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids?
I'm not sure. Are there people in the Democratic Party who want to defund the president?
I listened to the Hexenhammer over the weekend, Sticks, and he pointed out correctly. I mean, even if you are all with it at this point, you would never ever bring back an unfounded conspiracy theory back up because there's a chance that the finger might get pointed back to you if you do something. Say something like that, like, hey, what does this guy know? Because he's actually bringing this back up. And really, honestly, when we look at this too. Now, as for Ronnie Jackson was the White House doctor under Trump, so I'm going to take what he says with a grain of salt. But yes, we can clearly see that there is something wrong with that guy. Now, is the swamp going to swamp? And they're going to say, hey, no, we've got to keep this guy in forever until the day that he dies. I think that it's more likely that they don't get rid of him. I think it's way more likely that they just let him sit in there. They slowly strip powers away from him himself and slowly distribute them out to admin officials. And just let him sit there as a figurehead because, and I've pointed this out numerous times, with the Hunter thing, I think there are a lot more people than we know about that have their hand in that cookie jar. And the reason that he's in there is because he doesn't have to testify. He has executive privilege right now. If something comes up and a court case comes up, especially given the fact that they are investigating in the FBI Hunter Biden's taxes and everything else that goes with that, as of right now, he doesn't have to testify, and Merrick Garland can go back and dismiss all the charges if the FBI does find something. And there are a lot more people with their hands in that cookie jar that are going to go down if Biden goes down with them. So he's sitting there because they want him to die in office. Or Kamala to push him down the fucking stairs. One of the two. So no, he's not going to 25th out because then he might have to answer for his shit. All right, let's grab one from Fox. Oh, this bullshit. Now, I want to preface this for just a second before we get into this. So I want to take 1 second and preface what's going on with this. I know this area. I used to work in this area. And this does not surprise me at all. In fact, I bet you a lot of this has been going on for a lot longer than just this. From Fox News, Wisconsin police hit back at social media video accusing officer of planting evidence. From Danielle Wallace. Yes, as soon as I saw Village of Caledonia, I said, no. Yeah, this is absolutely a fucking plant. And now we see that all these other people that got drugs planted on them, probably also, those were all plants too. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a plant herself. But that's another story for another time. Yeah, I knew exactly what this was going to be. A police department in Wisconsin is hitting back against a cell phone video taken during a traffic stop circulating on social media, arguing that body cam footage Showing the incident from a very different vantage point proves that an officer did not try to plant evidence in the backseat of a vehicle. Oh, bullshit. The incident happened Wednesday at about 3:22 p.m. when officers from the Village of Caledonia Police Department conducted a traffic stop for a vehicle traveling 63 in a 45. The driver was identified by her driver's license, and the two rear passengers, who were not wearing seatbelts, were asked to identify themselves and were later removed from the vehicle, police said. The front passenger, who police say lawfully declined to identify himself, recorded a video on his cell phone that was later posted to social media with the caption, "Cop caught in 4K planting evidence." So that is the body cam, by the way. We'll watch that in just a second. It shows an officer appearing to toss something in the back seat before the front passenger tells him, "I got you on camera, bro." The officer responds, "I got you on camera. We're all good." "Hey, buddy, you just threw that in there," the passenger says, filming a plastic bag in the back seat. Village of Caledonia Police Chief Christopher Botch on Saturday released 2 clips of body cam footage, each taken from separate officers at the scene, adding more context to what happens. He said the first video shows officers search the rear passengers outside of the vehicle and find an empty corner tear, or a corner of plastic baggie was found in the passenger's pocket. The empty corner tear did not contain any illegal substance. However, this type of packaging is a common method of holding illegal drugs, Botch said in a summary of events shared to Facebook. Let's see if we can find the video of this actually happening. Yes, we can. All right, and before we actually watch the video, I do want to point one other thing off of this. So this is Village of Caledonia. This is Racine County. Probably not far, because I don't know what the actual location is of this. But I bet you I could find out. Probably not far from the interstate. So, and having worked in that same area of interstate for probably a good 3 or 4 years. Having worked there, I think it was 5 actually by the time it was all said and done. Having worked in that area for like 5 years, I know that they will continue. And I mean, driving up, because I was a driver where I worked. So I drove up and down the interstate all the time. And you always saw it. Even before I worked there, when I worked in Milwaukee and had to travel that same corridor, you'd always, on either Highway 20 on the off-ramp, on Highway K on the off-ramp, on Highway G on the off-ramp, even sometimes on 7 Mile Road on the off-ramp, you'd see at least once a week a car on the side with all the passengers outside with the cops ripping the back seat out of it. They consider this to be a big drug trafficking area, and really, honestly, if they're planting evidence, that wouldn't surprise me. With as many stops that were made in that area, I'm not surprised in the least. But let's watch this video here.
Hey, bro, what's that?
What's what?
That you just threw in here.
What's what word?
I got you on camera, bro.
I got you on camera. We're all good.
Hey, bro, you just threw that in here.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, what's that?
What's what?
Hey, bro, what's that?
What's what?
That you just threw in here.
What's what word?
I got you on camera, bro.
I got you.
So there it is right there. Now, I'm sure there's probably going to be something else, but it's interesting to me that, you also notice the fact that he's walking in here, he's dropping that in, and...
Hey, bro, what's that?
What's what?
That you just threw in here.
Now it appears right there that he's putting his gloves on for the first time. Because, we see the bare hand there, and he just reached behind his back and pulled the gloves out, too. So, I'm a little curious as to how that goes and how that operates, but... Because if you're going to handle evidence, you should have your gloves on before that. Am I right? Am I missing something off of that? But I don't know. Apparently there's body cam video of this, so let's actually go and look at that. Maybe we can't go and watch that. Let me refresh this quick and see if that works. Shut up.
I got specks of green. You're good to search if you need to. Corner cut. What's what? What's what word?
I got you on camera, bro.
I got you on camera. We're all good.
Hey, bro, you just threw that in here.
Yeah, because it was in his pocket, and I don't want to hold on to it. That's on their body cam that they took it off of him. So
You just threw that in here, bro. I got you on camera, man.
I'm telling you where it came from. So
I got you on camera, bro.
it's an empty baggie at the moment too. So okay, buddy.
Let's go watch that again, shall we? So there he is. He walks away. Oh, he's about to walk away. So, yeah, he's looking into the car. Now, and I don't know where his eyes are either, because all we can see is what's right here. That's where the body cam is.
I got specks of green. You're good to search if you need to. Corner cut.
So, I mean, right there we see he walks over and hands that back to him. Once again, I don't understand why the officer is putting gloves on after he handles this.
What's what?
And there it is. It shows him tossing, which, I mean, that actually, I don't understand that either. If you need to have this for evidence or for whatever reason for the stop, why would you toss it back in the car? I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you put it in an evidence bag and take it down to the lab and say, let's go see what's in this fucking thing? Even if it's legit, which I actually don't know if this is legit or not, but why would you put this back in the car? I don't understand any of this. Do we have the other video? No, they don't show the other video, unfortunately. The searching officer turned the empty corner tear over to another officer, who then passed it to the officer seen in the cell phone video that circulated online, Botch said. Since there were no drugs in the corner tear, the officers discarded the empty packaging material in the vehicle, the chief wrote. That is what was observed in the video. The second clip of body cam footage shows the officer approach the vehicle as the front passenger can be seen in view recording on his cell phone using the front camera. After the passenger accuses the officer of throwing the plastic baggie in the vehicle, the officer is heard say, yeah, because it was in his pocket and I don't want to hold it. It's on their body cam that they took it off of him. I'm telling you where it came from, the officer insists. It's an empty baggie at this moment, too. While we would discourage officers from discarding items into a citizen's vehicle, yes, the video is clear that the officer is not planting evidence or doing anything illegal, Botch said. That the post shared in the department's page, additionally, the empty corner tear is not itself illegal. So, regardless, I think everybody was bad in this situation. Now, yes, the guy should have been recording, absolutely. If you're sitting in a situation like that, yes, hold them accountable. Hold the police accountable, but, you know, this isn't as big of a deal as a lot of people made it out to be off the beginning, but there again, as much drug enforcement as I've seen going on that particular corridor, I would have questions too at this point. I have a lot of questions for this, but that's what we see from it. From Politico, Hawaii is hiring former Democratic super lobbyist Tony Podesta. Yes, that Tony Podesta. From Betsy Woodruff Swan and Daniel Lippman. Hawaii is hiring Democratic lobbyist Tony Podesta as a consultant. According to two people familiar with the matter, Podesta will aim to help the controversial Chinese telecom giant warm relations with the Biden admin. Podesta will work to advance a variety of the company's goals in Washington. According to one of the people, he declined to comment. A spokesperson for Hawaii also declined to comment. Hawaii faces a host of challenges in Washington. In February 2020, the Justice Department charged the company with violating the Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organizations Act, or RICO Act, a key DOJ tool for going after organized crime. DOJ alleged that Hawaii helped Iran's authoritarian government build out its domestic terror surveillance capabilities. Come on, man. I can read it better than Biden can. I swear. And tried to secretly do business with North Korea. The Justice Department has also brought charges against the company's chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou. She was arrested in Canada, where she is fighting extradition in the U.S. Hubei and Meng maintained their innocence. Hubei said that the accusations are an effort to irrevocably, wow, we must be getting over the hour mark here, damage its reputation in business, as CNBC has reported. Hubei is not Podesta's first major China client. Disclosure forms show that his former company also represented China. U.S. Exchange Foundation, which funds a host of activities in the U.S. The University of Texas in Austin in 2018 rejected a funding offer from the foundation because of concerns about its links to the Chinese Communist Party, as Inside Higher Ed has reported. Podesta, a colorful K-Street personality, known for his loud ties and elaborate art and wine collection, previously helmed the Podesta Group, his eponymous lobbying group, but in 2017, Special Counsel Robert Mueller scrutinized the firm for its work with Trump's 2016 campaign chief Paul Manafort. Manafort's team enlisted the Podesta Group in its efforts to sanitize the reputation of Ukraine's Russia-friendly president, Viktor Yanukovych. Podesta was not charged with wrongdoings, but shut down his firm and stepped back from lobbying after Manafort's indictment. He spent several years in the political wilderness, focused on selling art. In early July, he caught the attention of Washington with a splashy New York Times story revealing he wanted to re-enter the fray. So yes, the one behind the Podesta emails and a big portion of the Russia investigation is now got a cushy job with a Chinese state-run media firm. Swamp is going to swamp. So, I almost dropped this story from the stack because it doesn't really mean anything. But I wanted to point out the fact that we're seeing this with the protests around the country, with the breakthrough cases, with Biden doing what Biden's going to do, with him in cognitive decline, and with the White House doctor saying that he might be 25th out. The Washington Post had to put this article up here. Trump's PAC collected $75 million this year, but so far the group has not put any money into pushing for the 2020 ballot reviews he touts. So people are giving Trump money, and now the Washington Post has to tell you what he's spending it on. No, yes, and I understand that there's campaign finance stuff, and people are giving him money in the hopes that he's going to do certain things with this. But, I mean, this would be the exact same thing as if you guys hit me a buy me a coffee link and I said I was going to use it for a new computer. And then I turned around and used the $5 and bought a can of Bang. And the Washington Post decided that was a big story. People are giving him money. Yes, he should be using it for ballot review or campaign finance or something coming down the line, but he could use it however the fuck he wants. This is a big non-story that they wanted to use to cover up and keep people from talking about what's actually going on and how much they're currently getting fucked by the inflation in the upper fucking 1%. This is from Josh Dawsey and Rosalind S. Helderman. Former President Trump's political PAC raised roughly $75 million in the first half of this year as he trumpeted the false notion that the 2020 election was stolen from him. But the group has not devoted funds to help finance the ongoing ballot review in Arizona or to push the similar endeavors in other states, according to people familiar with the finances. Can you imagine what the headline would be if he dumped a bunch of money into Arizona right now? He's trying to buy off cyber ninjas. Look at him. He's evil. He's trying to compromise this. He's trying to make sure that they know where their loyalties lie. Oh my God, it's the end of the fucking world. Instead, the Save America Leadership PAC, which has few limits on how it can spend its money, has paid for some of the former president's travel, legal costs, and staff, along with other expenses, according to the people who spoke on the condition of anonymity. So, anonymous sources to describe the group's inner workings, the PAC has held onto much of its cash, which means they're going to probably try to run a 2024 campaign, either for the Donald himself or whoever he decides he's going to be the kingmaker for. This is a non-story. This is a nothing burger. But the Washington Post had to get it up here so people would talk about it and say, see, he's evil and he's taking his money away from his global constituents. Fucking blow me. All right, from U.S. News. Trump inaugural committee chair to be released on $250 million bail. This comes to U.S. News and World Report via the Associated Press. The chair of former President Trump's inaugural committee was ordered freed Friday on $250 million bail to face charges he secretly worked as an agent for the UAE to influence Trump's foreign policy. Tom Barrack, 74, will be subject to electronic monitoring and largely confined to his residence after he is arraigned on Monday in a New York courtroom. He was arrested Tuesday in Los Angeles near his home. Barrack is expected to plead not guilty to conspiring to influence U.S. policy on the UAE's behalf during the Trump 2016 campaign, and while Trump was the president, Barrack, the founder of private equity firm Colony Capital, was among 3 men charged in the case. Prosecutors, said Barrack used his long personal friendship with Trump to benefit the UAE without disclosing his ties to the U.S. government. U.S. Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue in L.A. ordered strict conditions for Barrack's release. He must surrender his passport, wear a GPS monitor to track his whereabouts, limit travel between Southern California and New York City, and obey a curfew. So, this guy is 74 years old on what is essentially a Logan Act violation, which has never been prosecuted in history. And they thought that $250 million with an M dollars was appropriate as bail. I think some of these people need to go back and study the Constitution again. $250 million with an M dollars. Excessive bail. We're protected against excessive bail in the Bill of Rights. This is a political persecution. This is a fucking witch hunt at this point. Hey, surrender $250 million and you have to wear an ankle bracelet. Like a common fucking meth head criminal. And surrender your passport, which that I can at least understand. Because you're in the middle of the trial and you should not be traveling to other countries if you're in the middle of a trial. That at least I can understand somewhat. But this is not above board. There's no way. But don't worry, we don't do political prosecutions in this country. Just ask our political betters. All right, so there's that. From AZ Central, Trump returns to Arizona, attacks Doug Ducey and predicts ballot review will vindicate him. From Ronald J. Hansen and Dan Nowicki. Former President Trump delighted his political base in downtown Phoenix on Saturday, predicting vindication from the ballot review in Arizona, ripping Governor Doug Ducey and reliving his favorite moments in the White House. Trump also continued to make false claims about fraud. Fraud is the worst fraud in 2020. It was stolen from me. Everybody knows. I'm sorry, Susan, but it actually wasn't stolen. Don't ban me. 2020 was the most fair and free election in history. There was nothing bad that happened there, and Joe Biden, is the most popular president in U.S. history. Honk, honk. More votes than Barack Obama. Honk, honk. Everybody loves Sleepy Old Joe. Honk, honk. Most popular president ever. Nothing bad happened. Honk, honk. Totally legitimately elected. The nearly 2-hour speech didn't break new ground on the ongoing ballot review. He asserts will show he won the state, and it didn't address Trump's political future. Even so, the nearly 5,000 on hand at the Arizona Federal Theater made clear their loyalties and priorities haven't shifted since he left office 6 months ago. Why the fuck would they? In my opinion, there's no way Democrats win elections without cheating, Trump said. What you're doing here is incredible. The 2020 election was a total disgrace, okay? I'm not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I'm trying to save American democracy, Trump said to enthusiastic applause. Trump cited previously debunked matters from the review and likely raised the political pressure on Arizona AG Mark Brnovich, saying he hoped the state's top law enforcement officer would act on the information gathered by the ballot review. Hopefully, he's going to do what everyone knows has to be done, Trump said to Brnovich, who's running for the U.S. Senate in a Republican primary where Trump's endorsement would be decisive. Trump's speech capped an event in which 3 of Arizona's Republicans in Congress also baselessly fueled doubt that the state's election results, and one of them, Representative Paul Gosar, put a spotlight on his guest, the mother of the woman shot to death as she tried to climb through the barricaded door during the selfie fest. Unlike his campaign speeches last year that cast America as having dispatched its most troublesome problems, Trump painted the nation in dark terms, the U.S. prisoner to Democrats, whose radical left Marxist maniacs are unraveling border security and triggering inflation in the economy. Trump also castigated weak Republicans, whom he said are rhinos, the worst. Those rhinos, they have big horns. I put some of those horns on my wall, but they're rhinos, okay, the worst rhinos. Republicans in name only, he took particular aim at Ducey, who memorably ignored a call from Trump to certify Arizona's victory for President Joe Biden. So, there he is, in Arizona, giving a speech. Alright, let's grab one from the Hill. It was a Hill-heavy episode today. Trump hails Arizona Senate for audit at Phoenix rally, slams the governor from Jordan Williams. Former President Trump on Saturday hailed the Arizona State Senate for its ongoing audit of the 2020 election in Maricopa County during a rally in Phoenix while taking shots at Governor Ducey. Speaking to a crowd of supporters at the event, dubbed the Rally for Election Integrity, Trump began by thanking the brave and unyielding conservative warriors in the Arizona State Senate for forging ahead with the audit. The former president recognized several GOP state senators, particularly thanking Arizona Senate President Karen Fann, who has overseen the effort that began in December. Trump then acknowledged several GOP senators who were in the crowd. He praised Arizona Republican Chairwoman Kelly Ward as a real fighter, before taking his first jab at Ducey. Republican Party Chairwoman, someone that has tremendous courage, Trump said of Ward. She really is a fighter, okay? And she fights your governor, who doesn't do a damn thing, Trump said, referring to Ducey. Trump then attacked Ducey for not being very popular at rallies. I introduced him, and I wouldn't get much of an applause. And I kept saying, this guy's not very popular, but now, you know what? He's not popular with me either. So, yeah, that's some of the other stuff that we saw from this. From what I understand, it was a good rally. Of course, it's got TPUSA there because they worship at the fucking feet of Donald Trump. But, yeah, I understand it was a good speech. I didn't watch it, unfortunately. But, yeah, It seems like it was good. All right, let's grab one from the Associated Press. So you remember Thursday of last week when I told you about the Minnesota guy who was accused, and once again, this is all allegations, but he was being pushed to resign because they found out that he actually resides in Wisconsin. And in residing in Wisconsin, they also found out that he has several domestic abuse allegations about him. No convictions, but several allegations. And they were kind of pushing him to resign after this point because I'm pretty sure that they knew that this was about to come out. And I said, you notice how they missed this when they were vetting this guy for office. Whether or not it's true, you notice how they missed this and nobody knew about this when that guy from Minnesota was running for office. But I'm sure that they knew they had this on deck here. As Herschel Walker eyes Senate run, a turbulent past emerges. From Brian Slodisco, Bill Barrow, and Jake Bleiberg. At first glance, Herschel Walker has coveted political profile for a potential Senate candidate in Georgia. He was a football hero at University of Georgia before his long NFL career. He's a business owner whose chicken products are distributed across the U.S., and he's a black conservative with backing from former President Trump, a longtime friend. But a Associated Press review of hundreds of pages of public records tied to Walker's business ventures and his divorce, including many not previously reported, sheds new light on a turbulent personal history that could dog his Senate bid. The documents detail accusations that Walker repeatedly threatened his ex-wife's life, exaggerated claims of financial success, and alarmed business associates with unpredictable behavior. Walker, now 59, has been open about his long struggle with mental illness, writing at length in an 2008 book about being diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, once known as multiple personality disorder. But it's unclear how he would discuss these events as a candidate. Walker did not respond to requests for comments. Multiple emails went unanswered, though his executive assistant confirmed they were received. AP also sent emails and left a message with longtime attorney who did not respond. And there it is. And like I said, it's not that if there was a conviction off of this, if we could come out and say, yes, he went to court, he did his time, he is actually a criminal, a felon in this point, then yes, this would obviously kick his Senate career out. But this is going to be something that is going to be plastered on every single television set in the world because it happened to him. But that dude from Minnesota, oh, no, we don't know anything about that. Oh, we're surprised as you that this came out, that this guy allegedly beat up his girlfriend. We're in similar situations. Allegations, no convictions, and yet the state rep in Minnesota slipped through the cracks, and this guy is going to be plastered through his entire campaign. Do you see it yet? Do you see where they're trying to hide and protect their good little fucking lapdogs, and anybody who steps outside of the political narrative or goes and follows Trump is suddenly public enemy number one and needs to be castigated and beaten down? Do you see it yet? Do you see it yet? All right, from Politico. House Freedom Caucus asks McCarthy to try to remove Pelosi as Speaker. From Olivia Beavers. The conservative House Freedom Caucus is urging Kevin McCarthy to try to boot Nancy Pelosi from her position as Speaker, a sign of further escalating tensions after the California Democrat vetoed two of the House Minority Leader's GOP picks from the January 6th Select Committee. In a letter on Friday, the far-right group asked McCarthy to file and bring up a privileged motion by July 31st to vacate the chair and end Nancy Pelosi's authoritarian reign as the Speaker of the House. Speaker Pelosi's tenure is destroying the House of Representatives and our ability to faithfully represent the people we are here to serve, they write. Republicans under your leadership must show the American people that we will act to protect our ability to represent their interests. The motion is all but guaranteed to fail in the Democratic House, but it signals a stewing anger on the right towards the Speaker. The Freedom Caucus's letter indicates that McCarthy would need to initiate the motion, and if he were to do so, it would further escalate partisan acrimony in the House that has remained high and occasionally got personal since January 6th. So, yeah, there's that. we're going to come out and he's going to try, well, he's not going to try to run this. And really, honestly, he shouldn't. Now, do I think that Nancy Pelosi should be removed? Yes, I do. But in this political climate, yes, it's going to be Kevin McCarthy's going. He's going after the good woman. He's the evil Kevin McCarthy, and this is an attempt to go back and put a white male into this position. So that's all we're going to see off of this. And I mean, you know, the Freedom Caucus being involved in this. That's exactly what we're going to see. Oh, he's following the orders of it, the marching orders of the Freedom Caucus, which means that all they want to have is white males in power. Fuck off. All right, from NBC News. This guy's just a dumb fuck. Bumble dating app trips up another Capitol riot suspect. From Minivan Burke. A Texas man who told a Bumble match he participated in the Selfie Fest was arrested Friday after his would-be date alerted the FBI, according to court documents. Andrew Quentin Take, 32, is accused of pepper spraying and assaulting police officers. Federal authorities said he's charged with obstruction of an official proceeding, felony assaulting police, obstruction of law enforcement, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, demonstrating in a Capitol building, and engaging in physical violence on restricted grounds. He made his initial court appearance on Friday in the Southern District of Texas. The FBI received a tip in January about Take's participation in the riot after a witness told authorities they had messaged Take on the dating app Bumble while he was in Washington, D.C., according to charging documents. In a screen grab of the conversation included in the court document, the unnamed match asked Take if he was near all the action. Take told his match that he was in the Capitol for about 30 minutes and was pepper sprayed by law enforcement while peacefully standing there. He also sent the person a photograph of himself apparently after he was pepper sprayed, the documents show. About 30 minutes after being sprayed, he wrote underneath a selfie, "Safe to say I was the first person to be sprayed that day, and all while just standing there." After receiving the tip, authorities reviewed the flight records that showed that Take took a flight from Houston to D.C. a day before the riot and flew back days later. The FBI said it also found publicly posted videos and photographs showing Take at the Capitol. Several of these images show Take using what appears to be a metal whip and pepper spray to attack law enforcement officers, the charging documents said. So, a little bit to this. Now, first and foremost, this isn't an after-the-fact thing, so this was actually happening in the midst of what was going on. So this isn't as dumb as I thought it was going to be. Now, I thought this was going to be some guy just a couple weeks ago saying, "Oh yeah, man, I was at the Capitol insurrection. I'm cool. I went and broke into the Capitol, and I'm going out here to save this for Donald Trump." That doesn't appear to be what actually happened. It appears to be that, you know, he was going back and forth with this chick on Bumble. And then he decided that he needed to go to the Capitol Selfie Fest. And he got in. Now, whether or not he actually did assault police officers, I mean, I've got to see the video of that. That's being tightly held in control of the government at this point. So I don't know if he actually pepper sprayed or went back at anybody. It sounds like he himself actually did get pepper sprayed for just standing there, but you know, that's what the jury's going to hear, and this guy's probably going to be held without bail for a very, very long time in a lot of solitary. But really, honestly, yeah, don't brag about what you're doing if it's after the fact. You know, and once again, I look back to this and say, okay, in this particular case, this guy probably didn't know what was happening. When he went there, he probably just went there and said to himself, "Yeah, I'm going to go to the rally. I'm going to see this." And he had no idea that this was going to explode the way that it was. But regardless, you know, now you've got electronic tracking. You've got selfies, all kinds of other stuff here. And I'm pretty sure that this guy was turned in by a date that went wrong, that he thought he was going to get a piece of action. And she had no intention on getting him a piece of action. And when he tried, she said, "Ugh, get away from me," and then called the FBI. That's what this sounds like to me. All right, we got just a few more, then we will do a rule of acquisition and head out of here for the day. Speaking of the Capitol Selfie Fest, Rep. Mark Wayne Mullen defends Capitol Police officer who shot Ashley Babbitt. From Anders Engelseed. Representative Mark Wayne Mullen has defended the Capitol Police officer who shot rioter Ashley Babbitt, parting with former President Trump's version of the events. Speaking on C-SPAN for its January 6 Views from the House show ahead of its Sunday release, Representative Mullen firmly defended the officer's actions in the Capitol as rioters stormed the building. Mullen broke from Trump's condemnation of the officer and said, "He was the last person in the world who ever wanted to use force like that, and he wasn't prone to do that." Really? Because everybody in the world thinks he's a hero. All the left thinks this guy's a hero because he shot an evil Trump supporter. Fuck off. I know for a fact because after it happened, he came over. He was physically and emotionally distraught. I actually gave him a hug and said, "Sir, you did what you had to do." Really? Really? An unarmed person. If this woman had dark skin and this happened, we'd still be facing the riot. There would be no Capitol building left because BLM would have been invited in and then burned the fucking thing down from the inside out. They would have been invited in and said, "Oh, we're sorry. We're sorry. We're going to do something about the Capitol Police." And then BLM would have burned the fucking building down from the inside out. And then probably got a medal for doing that shit too. Mullen continued, "He was doing his job. He got in a situation where he had to do his job because there were House members still in the balcony. And if you're going to present your weapon and give commands and they still don't listen and they still approach, you don't have a choice. Either you have to, at that point, discharge your weapon in self-defense, or that weapon is going to be taken away from you. It's going to be used on you and put all of our lives in danger too." Self-defense? A woman stuck in a window, cannot move one way or the other. That's self-defense? Fuck you. Fuck you. This is the elitist going on right there. And, you know, the Rhino Cons and the fucking Republicans and the McCarthys of the world are going to pay lip service to this, but they would be in the same position if this was a protester on the other side. If this was a left-wing protester coming in to go protest in the Capitol building because Trump got a second term, they would be all about, "Oh, no, see, we have to defend this guy." No. In any case, unarmed, not presenting. Now, not charging, not presenting. Stuck in a fucking window. No. This was a not right kill. But here we are. It's not about all cops are bastards. It's about we want the police out there that we can control. This is fucking disgusting. From the Daily Mail. Find a different country. Iowa racetrack announcer is fired after loudspeaker rant about darker-skinned Americans who won't stand for the flag and want their own national anthem to cheers from the crowd. From Andrew Court for Daily Mail. An Iowa racetrack announcer was fired after launching into a racist rant against black athletes on a loudspeaker. The announcer, whose identity has not been confirmed, was filling in for regular announcer at the Kossuth County Speedway in Algona on July 15th when he made the inflammatory remarks. Video shared to social media shows crowds at the Speedway listening as he says over the speaker, "Here's your social service announcement. If you don't stand for our flag, you're going to take a knee. And if you're going to feel you have the rights, you have the right to remain silent for most of the time. But I've got 4 words for you. Find a different country." He is heard continuing, "Get the hell out of Dodge. Yes, a lot of people have sacrificed many things in their lives for us to be able to do these liberties, and you feel that's right. Well, I don't know. You just don't have the right." Some of the crowd were heard cheering as he made the comments. Let me see if we can actually get this. I don't know if I can. No, because it's archived. Let me see if I can find this one quick. Because this would be interesting to listen to. Let me go do a little bit of digging here and some on-air production. No, his Twitter's locked down, so I can't even come back and bring this back up. Because this is... Yeah, this is the guy who that posted this originally, but yeah, he locked his account down, so we can't turn around and go listen to this this audio once again, which is lame, because I was hoping we were going to be able to, but yeah, unfortunately. These tweets are protected. The man then referenced the recent reports that the NFL will play Lift Every Voice and sing the unofficial Black National Anthem before Week 1 games in its upcoming season. I've heard about all the stuff going on in the NFL, and now they're going to have another national anthem for these folks. For the, I guess, darker toned skin color, I'll just say blacks. They want a different national anthem, and the NFL is thinking about doing it. So I say shut off the TVs and let them play in front of nobody. He raged. Well, yeah, and I mean, that's what I did, too, is, I don't watch this because I don't want the wokeism in my sports. I will walk away from the Green Bay Packers if they're going to bring the wokeism back into it because I'm not here for the woke. I'm not here to do this. I want to unplug from the social strife and the issues of the world, walk away, and just spend some time with my mind off. And they're not giving me that in sports, so... if that's what they're going to keep doing, then I'm going to do that. But, for this guy to come back and do this over a loudspeaker, yeah, I can see where that's going to cause some issues in our society. I really can. All right, let's keep going here. What else do we got? We got just a couple more, then we're going to head out of here for the day. Cleveland's baseball team is changing name to the Guardians. And everybody with a Chief Wahoo tattoo is suddenly in tears. From Kevin Stankiewicz. Cleveland's Major League Baseball team will change its name to the Guardians, the franchise announced on Friday, dropping their racially offensive name it has been known as for more than a century. The change was announced in a video on Twitter narrated by Oscar winner Tom Hanks, who worked in Cleveland early in his acting career and then starred in the women's baseball movie A League of Their Own, which ironically happened in Wisconsin. The name Guardians is a reference to well-known Art Deco statues located at the Lorraine Carnegie Bridge, which spans the Cuyahoga River and connects downtown Cleveland to the city's trendy Ohio City neighborhood. Those statues are known as the Guardians of Traffic. The franchise, which announced the name change in a tweet Friday morning, had long faced pressure from activists locally and nationally to ditch the name Indians, which critics say was racist. It had been the baseball club's name since 1915. Here's the video from the Cleveland Indians.
We are a city on the rise, forging into the future from our ironed-out past. We are a city of fire and water, of trees and towers, built through generations of blue collars and the brightest scholars, and all of those who have worked harder. We hold tight to our roots and set our sights on tomorrow. And this is our team that has stood with our city for more than a century, from Old Municipal to the corner of Carnegie. A team that has seen its own progress and prosperity. Its history flows like the river through the heart of this city. A history that has given us miraculous moments. Moments that spanned years and others 22 games. Moments that broke barriers and moments that broke hearts. Moments that prove this is more than a game. We remember those moments as we move forward with change. You see, it has always been Cleveland that's the best part of our name.
Who wants to bet I get popped for fucking Tom Petty music? Who wants to bet I get popped for that?
To come together and welcome all who want to join us. We are loyal and proud and resilient. We protect.
So, I do have some questions about this. I'm not completely turned off by this idea. Now, yes, the fact that they had to run out and do this because the woke mob told them to, that's a con in my eyes. As far as a pro, I mean, the Guardians name, that does have a basis in Cleveland history. So it's not just like they went out and, got a great big barcode and said, "We are the Cleveland baseball team. Please cheer for us." It's not like they did something like that. I mean, they actually have something with thoughts for this, but I mean, yeah, there's the history. And I know somebody in the audience right now that says, okay, my dad's got a Chief Wahoo tattoo, and I'm sure there are a bunch of other people that, I mean, this was a big franchise. And with this, I mean, if we have to go full wokeism, we'll never be able to watch the Drew Carey Show reruns anymore, which, I mean, good luck finding those anyway. I tried to actually get like season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Drew Carey Show on Amazon. They only have season 1 because that was the only season that was ever released to DVD. And I think some of the local TV stations run it, like the Me TVs and whatnot. It's just I don't have cable, so I can't go and watch that. I don't have antenna, I don't have cable, I don't have shit. So anything I'm going to be watching I'm going to be watching online. But I mean, as far as that goes, and I mean, can we still watch Major League? Major League 2? Those are the Cleveland Indians. I've seen Major League. I've never seen Major League 2. That's one of like 4 movies I've ever seen in my life. There's so much associated with this franchise. And are we still permitted to do this? Is this all going to the memory hole? Are they going to redub it to say Guardians every time they said Indians for this? Are they going to cover up Chief Wahoo? What's going to happen from this? I mean, how far does the memory hole go? But I guess we'll see. We'll find out next year. Let's see. From SF Gate. Oh, I got a story that goes with this. Californians are arriving in Montana in droves, but they're not welcome. From Tessa McLean. Yeah, when I used to watch Beauty and the Beta, Matt always used to talk about how many California plates that he saw in the city that he lives in. And how frustrating it was for that. Like, okay, well, come to my state, but leave your voting where you're at. But apparently they're arriving in Montana in droves, and they're not welcome. From Tessa McLean. Sasha Vermel has been sewing face masks locked in her Oakland home for months. During the pandemic, when her hands gave out, she realized she couldn't even open the door anymore. It was the last straw. She'd been out of work as a designer and seamstress since the pinko fucking pox hit. She'd been homeschooling her 2 kids for months, and the 2020 wildfire season had been relentless. She went to her husband and asked if he wanted to fly to Missoula for the weekend and look at houses. That was in September of 2020. By Thanksgiving, they had moved there, joining the thousands of people who've relocated from California to Montana in the past 2 years. While the move was abrupt, Vermel and her husband had thought about leaving the Bay Area for years. And she said that they would often do real estate tourism on Zillow and browse houses in other cities they might move to. They considered Asheville, but there wasn't much of a tech community there, something her husband was looking for. They also thought about Austin, but quickly realized it wasn't quite as affordable as it once was. And it wasn't going to be a big enough improvement in their living situation. They'd almost settled on Ashland, Oregon when the 2020 fire season hit, making the West Coast seem like a less desirable option. Vermel is from Montana and still has lots of family there, so once they made the choice, the transition was fairly easy. They were able to sell their Oakland home and get a much larger property in Missoula, the second largest city in the state. Being able to sell a Bay Area home meant that we could have a lot more, she said. We went from 1,600 square feet with houses packed in around us to 180-degree mountain views. So, and I mean, we know this is going here. People are leaving California in droves to go various places like Texas, like Arizona, like Montana. I mean, some of them are even coming here to Wisconsin. I don't know why, and for God's sakes, please leave your voting there. But yeah, they're leaving California in droves. But in the Discord, and I'm not going to name names right now, but one of our regular Discord users who, let's say that he's got certain spicy opinions, mentioned the fact, and I'm not going to quote this directly, but he said something to the extent of, this is such a nice neighborhood, but I miss the diversity of California. You know what this neighborhood needs? It needs more, and he put NI dash. And I said, I looked at that and I hit the reply button on Discord and I said, dash CE, making it nice people who will preserve our neighborhoods and make them safe for generations to come. And yes, there's a reason I'm not going to show that on screen. But yes, they're going everywhere. They're leaving California, and get out of California because the government does not need your tax money. Get the fuck out of there. They hate you. Just leave your voting patterns there. Leave the Democratic California voting policies, leave those there because they failed. Don't bring them here. You can come to Wisconsin, but don't California my Wisconsin. We will open the arms to you. We will teach you the ancient arts of making cheese and making more cheese and making even more cheese. We will teach you the ancient arts of milking cows and living on 180 acres with nobody else around you. We will teach you all these ancient arts. Just leave your voting in fucking California. And you'll be better for it. All right, another little bit of news for you here. Husky abandoned on Texas roadside in viral video is rescued. Adopted suspect facing animal cruelty charges. From Bree Simpson. A Texas man was arrested Friday, accused of animal cruelty, just days after he allegedly abandoned a husky along a roadside near El Paso, authorities said. Luis Antonio Campos, 68, was booked in El Paso County Detention Facility on $5,000 bond, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office said, adding that another arrest was expected as the investigation continued. The alleged crime was captured on video that quickly went viral after being shared on social media. Aww. It breaks your fucking heart. It really does. The clip appears to show someone unleashing a dog along the roadside while a driver waits in a nearby Jeep. The pair then drive away as the dog desperately chases the SUV, unable to catch up. I don't know how those people could get in that vehicle, see that dog in the mirror running behind them, and just drive off, Ronald Como told KFOX 14 of El Paso. I don't know how you could do that as a human being. Como said he has been rescuing pets in El Paso for 6 years. Well, I'm really glad that the dog got a good home because that's a loyal dog. And no, as far as animal cruelty goes, I don't know if that's the right charge for this, but I mean, it just breaks your heart because all that dog wanted to do was go home and be there by the people that he loved. He was loyal. It makes me miss my ex's dog, Orion, who, in spite of all the problems that my ex and I had, that dog loved me unconditionally and probably would have gone with me over her if he'd been given the choice. But of course, he doesn't give the choice. But the loyalty, the fact that he runs desperately trying to go back home. Mommy, Daddy, why are you leaving me? Breaks your heart. It really does. All right, the last one, and then we will do one of the rules of acquisition and head out of here for the day. We'll go check, see who's on Twitch right now, see if we can go raid over there. If you guys are over on Twitch, stick around and we'll go check that out. Ohio father buys ice cream truck for his kids with Down syndrome. He purchased it to help them gain work experience. From Scripps National, CNN news source. A father in Ohio wanted to help his 2 adult children with Down syndrome gain work experience. So, Joel Wegener purchased an ice cream truck. And in April, the family opened special neat treats. In an interview with WLWT, Wegener said sales have exceeded expectations, with them selling close to 5,000 frozen treats. The father of 10 said he created the business to help teach his kids financial, communication, and social skills. He also plans to expand the business someday and to look into hiring other people with special needs. And that's it. That's all that we have for this. But, I mean, regardless, we're in a society right now where, people with Down syndrome, they're not going to have some of the same opportunities. And yes, I understand a father's love to try to come out and say, yes, I'm going to do whatever it takes to come and help my kids make their way in the world. But the fact that he's extending this to come out and have an opportunity that actually will help with people with Down syndrome. To have them to be able to come out and maybe do some self-sufficiency. It's not going to be a great life. I mean, working in an ice cream truck, it's not going to be... You're not going to get rich off of it, but the fact that so many people are in support of this ice cream truck, the fact that so many people are willing to go in and put their money to a company that hires people with special needs. Good on them, and that warmed you up a little bit too. So I kind of wish there would have been more to this, but that's still enough. I'm really glad to see something like this. I think we need to see some more of this too. People taking the initiative to try and help out the people that need the help the most. All right. And that is it. That's all for the news here. And the last thing we do on Monday is we check one of the Ferengi rules of acquisition. And we are up to the 13th rule of acquisition, which skipping 11 and 12 because they do not appear in canon at this point. We go on to the 13th rule of acquisition. Anything worth doing is worth doing for money. I love this. Now, of course, if we look at the Ferenginar society, then their entire society is driven for profit. And they can't do volunteer work. They can't sit back and they can't do anything like this. But, we can look at this and we can talk about what actually happens in our world. What happens in the real world. And really, honestly, anything that is worth doing for money. There is a reason. And now, I don't require payment to watch this program. But you see the donation links in there. If you think I do a good job, throw me a $5. Toss me a $5. I am doing this for free, but I am hoping at some point that we can get some advertising on this, including the little bit of advertising we're seeing on Twitch right now, which thank you everybody who watches this on Twitch, by the way. But the little bit of advertising has a little bit of money coming in, and, we get the donations every once in a while. But, yes, anything that is worth doing is doing for money. I could sit in front of this camera forever. And, yeah, I love doing this. I love getting up here, reading the news every morning. I do regret sometimes when my allergies flare up while I'm in the middle of talking, and I don't know how runny my nose is going to be until after I start talking. I apologize for the unprofessionalism of that, but, sometimes some things happen off of that, and I have taken the allergy pill, and it's starting to kick in. But there's also a reason that I've cited this project off the top, where we're trying to get something together. Get all of these 6 shows together as an alliance to try and help each other out because, yes, I can sit here and talk to the camera forever for free and tell you what the news is, what I think of the news, and give you the facts and, let you make a determination on what the news is for yourself because ultimately I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to take your own word for it. I want you to trust your own gut. Look at the facts, look past my opinion of it, look at the facts, and tell me what's actually going on. I read your chat every day. I don't read it on air, but I do read it every day. But we're putting this conglomerate together, these 6 people, because I think helping each other grow, because we've all got different audiences at this point, helping each other grow can start helping all of us get monetized on all of our various platforms, so we can actually start doing this for money. I would love it, and that's been my goal. Yes, everybody that was on Freedom Scoop, everybody who's coming into the new project, love doing this and would do it forever for no money. But I don't want that life for them. If they're going to come in and create content, I want them to be getting. I want them to never have to want for anything again. That is my goal on this new project, is to get enough advertising and get enough eyes on product that none of these people that come, especially from the ground up, ever have to want for anything again. So yes, I am doing this right now for free, unless you want to throw me a donation, which is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. But we're driven. All 6 programs are driven, and we are going to try to do this for money because anything that's worth doing is worth doing for money. And that's going to be it for the day. Let's change up the scene. Let's head out of here. All right. Where's the music? Where's the music? Throw the music up. Let's do this. All right. So thanks, everybody who came by and chatted with us. Let's go make sure Steven's on here so we can go rate him. Twitch.tv. Let's see who's going. Yes, Stephen Ignoramus is talking politics over on Twitch right now. So those of you who are on Twitch, stick around because we're going on a raiding adventure soon. Come back and hang out with us. And we're going to go check out my friend Stephen Ignoramus. Otherwise, come back. Join me later on tonight at 5:30 Central Time when I'm sitting down and talking about the news with Oklahoma gubernatorial candidate Natalie Bruno. So that's going to be a good time. And, I mean, you guys all know that I don't do campaign speeches and I don't let my guests do canned campaign speeches. We're going to sit down, we're going to talk about the issues of today, and see how Natalie Bruno would deal with them as an office. So it's going to be a great time. I love this segment of the show. I love giving the opportunity to do so, and I hope we get to do some more of this as we get into regular campaign season as well. So come back and join me. That is at 5:30 Central Time on this same channel here for the Red Net Show featuring Natalie Bruno. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. for more Contemporary. Until then, you guys, I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. We will see you next time. Take care.